Avon Grove Charter School's high school course selection presentation. This is a recording of a presentation that was originally held on March 1st, 2018 in the State Road Auditorium, and will cover the high school's course selection process and program of studies for the upcoming school year. Before we get started, I just would like to note that whenever we're building our course selection process and our master schedule for each academic year, we always try to point back to the school's mission and vision when making decisions about the types of courses that we're going to offer, the schedule that we're going to have students go through, as to whether or not we are aligned with the school's mission and vision in the high school program. Some things to consider both as students and as parents before going through the course selection process here at Avon Grove Charter School really is a reflective process to think about one's abilities, their interests, requirements, and goals. So for example, from an abilities standpoint, when looking at course selection for the upcoming school year, students and parents really need to look at their past academic record and evaluate how they've done in the past related to specific disciplines or areas of study. They might start to look at what types of careers or personal interests they have or are interested in and how their course selection aligns to those goals. Or what do you want to do after high school? And then every student and parent should make themselves aware of the requirements here at Avon Grove Charter School, whether that's a credits requirement to be promoted to the next grade level, a graduation requirement, a community service hours requirement, and we'll get into some of that in some of our later slides, but really being aware of what needs to be done each year that a student's in high school so that they can adequately progress towards their own individual goals and towards the requirements that the school has. Throughout this process, it's extremely important for students to be in contact with and collaborate with their high school guidance counselor. Or our school counselors are really here to help students through this process of reflecting and identifying what their goals are and what they want to do for post-secondary planning, and then aligning those goals and that planning process with their course selection and what they're engaging in here at Avon Grove Charter School. So our great resource is our upper school counseling department to be able to better support our students throughout this process. Another tool that students will start to hear about throughout this course selection process and as they transition into the high school is our college and career planning tool titled Naviance. If you haven't already heard about Naviance, you will most likely be getting information about it or a reminder about it, because it really is our school's main tool for college and career planning and preparation and exploration. It's how students submit their college applications, how they store resumes, how they review college entrance requirements or job salary and career clustering information. So if you haven't already heard about this, please make sure that you reach out to your high school counselor. Every student has and parent have accounts with Naviance that will help better support them in their post-secondary planning, which again matriculates down to what their course selection process looks like here at the high school. So one of the most important things in terms of planning is always understanding the end goal in mind. And one of those end goals is making sure that our students meet and adhere to our graduation requirements. So at Avon Grove Charter School, there's 3 core graduation requirements. One is making sure that a student acquires the necessary credits needed in specific content areas, and we'll break them down in a later slide. That they complete the required community service hours that we have here at Avon Grove Charter School. And then beginning with the class of 2020, students are required to demonstrate proficiency on the algebra, literature, and biology keystone exams or some type of alternative assessment. And then just as a point to note, starting in 2016-17, the state of Pennsylvania required public schools to list and display students' keystone results on their high school transcripts. So that it's important to note and to be aware that the performance on the algebra, literature, and biology keystone exams or their alternative assessments will be displayed on a student's official high school transcript. In terms of graduation requirements, students at Avon Grove Charter School must earn a minimum of 23 credits in order to graduate. So this 23 credits, again, is a minimum requirement. And we require specific credit amounts in different discipline areas. So for English and social studies, students are required to complete 4 credits. For science and math, 3 credits. 4 arts and humanities credits. That includes world languages, art, some social studies electives that meet the humanities, the definition of humanities. Students are required to take 1 health and 1 PE course during their 4 years of high school. And then they have the ability to complete 4 elective credits that can be based on whatever their student interest may be. To be able to keep students on pace for this minimum requirement, Avon Grove Charter School requires that students in grades 9 through 11 schedule a minimum of 6 credits each academic year, and that students in grade 12 schedule a minimum of 5. Related to the Keystone exams, the new requirement pushing back the graduating class requirements for proficiency on these exams is now starting with the class of 2020. So Pennsylvania law now states that starting with the class of 2020, students must score proficient or advanced on the Algebra 1, Biology, or Keystone Literature exams in order to graduate. Students who are not proficient after taking the exams for the first time, at Avon Grove Charter School, we provide students asynchronous remedial support in preparation to retest, as well as we will examine and explore additional remedial courses for students to take. Our remedial courses we try to stay away from because here at Avon Grove Charter School, we don't believe that pushing students through remedial courses in place of being able to take electives that students may be passionate about really prepares them for their post-secondary goals. So we try to leverage as much asynchronous and individual remedial support as we can in lieu of enrolling students into, say, an algebra remediation or biology remediation course where they cannot then take band or take an art class. Students take the Keystone exams at the end of specific courses. So if a student is enrolled in CAP Algebra 1, Concepts of Algebra B, or you're an 11th grader who has not taken algebra, it's at those exit points that students take the Algebra 1 exam. For biology, students take the biology Keystone at the end of their biology class. Or if you're an 11th grader who has not yet taken biology, you would take the biology Keystone exam in the spring of your 11th grade year. And then our literature exam is taken after our world literature course, which is mostly during a student's 10th grade year. However, if we have an 11th grader who has not taken the Keystone exam or is not enrolled in world literature here at Avon Grove Charter School, those students will take the literature exam at the end of their 11th grade year. So the way that these exams work is that a student's score is banked until their 11th grade year. So it doesn't matter what year you take these exams. The scores are banked until a student's 11th grade year. And then if students are proficient prior to their 11th grade year, they do not need to retake the exam. So if you take biology in 9th grade and take the biology exam at the end of their 9th grade year and a student scores proficient, they do not need to retake that exam. Once a score of proficient is recorded, then they've met that requirement and are no longer need to retest or be exposed to those examination periods. In terms of moving grade levels, Avon Grove Charter School requires students to accumulate 5.5 credits to move from 9th to 10th grade, 11.5 to move from 11th to 12th, 17.5 to move from 11th to 12th, and then a minimum of 23 credits to graduate. So again, at the end of a particular year, a student must have accumulated a specific amount of credits in order to be, quote unquote, promoted to the next grade level. That does not mean that if a student in ninth grade did not accumulate 5.5 credits, that they would have to repeat all of their courses. They would only have to repeat courses in which they did not get a or receive a passing grade. So the grade level placements are not necessarily as indicative of a student's academic level. Like in middle school, it's just an accumulation of credits to be able to move grade level designations. Avon Grove Charter School is also currently in the process of building a proposal to reinstate a graduation project. This graduation project would apply to next year's ninth graders, so it would apply to only to the class of 2022, and it would be focused around the development of a comprehensive career and college readiness portfolio. So our policy and guidelines are still being developed and being presented to our school board, but any changes to our graduation requirements that may happen throughout the later part of this spring and into the early summer would be communicated with the community when that happens. But for right now, this is just proposals, but we wanted to make sure that during the course selection process, our families and our students are aware of the possibility of an additional graduation requirement beginning with next year's ninth graders. Avon Grove Charter School also has a specific graduation requirement centered around community service. So at Avon Grove Charter School, we require 15 hours of documented community service per year that a student is in attendance within our school in the high school program. We also are proposing a slight adjustment to this for next year, beginning with next year's ninth grade class. So that's starting with the class of 2022, 1/4 or 1/4 of all documented community service hours must be completed outside of the school or direct school-related service opportunities. This new requirement, our goal in implementing this new requirement is really to get students a more well-rounded community service experience and service opportunity exposure to different organizations and opportunities in and around the community, and really making community service holistic in that students have the ability to give back to the school, but we're also pushing students in a direction of giving back to their community and organizations that support the larger surrounding community of Avon Grove Charter School. So for our eighth graders making a transition to ninth grade, there is a little bit of a change in terms of course level designations. So this table kind of explains the different movements that could happen from eighth grade to ninth grade. So in ninth grade, we have three main content levels. We sort of have a general content level. We have a college prep level, and then an honors level course. So depending upon what level you might be in our eighth grade is kind of will tell you what course level you may want to start to look at in terms of your course recommendations and course requests that would occur. So if you're in a core level class in middle school, you're looking at probably moving into a general content level class, or possibly bumping up into a college prep class, depending upon how you may have performed academically in that core level class. If you are in a grade level class, you're looking at moving from most likely into a college preparatory track. And then if you are in an enriched class, which we only have really in terms of English and a content-specific mathematics course in middle school, you'd be looking at going into college prep or possibly honors. And then if you're in a CAP class, you're most likely looking at making a transition to a ninth grade honors class or college prep level. So there is some fluidity to this as we are moving through the spring and evaluating students' academic performance and what they may be ready for in terms of course content leveling for their ninth grade year. Once you get into 10th grade, we start to offer AP level classes. So it kind of will transition back to a 4 course level area where you have a standard content level, college prep, honors, and then advanced placement courses in social studies, in English, in mathematics. And again, we'll share some of our AP level classes on a later slide. One question that we get a lot from students and from parents is what is a GPA? So the way that our grading scales work in our high school is that students receive. There's 4 quarters through the year, and students will receive a final grade for all 4 quarters, and then students receive a midterm and a final grade, or and a final exam grade. So a final course grade in the high school is typically made up of 4 quarter grades, a midterm, and a final exam. And then the average of all of your final grades in a year, depending upon the weighting, would then calculate out what a student's GPA is. And some of our classes are weighted higher than others based on the academic level and the depth and breadth and rigor that might happen in those particular classes. So we currently run on a 4.5 plus weighted scale. So content level classes and college preparatory level classes follow the 4.5 rank value here on this table. If you take an honors level class, it's weighted up a half a GPA point on a 5.0 scale. And then AP courses are weighted on a 5.5 weighted scale. So it's important to note that this 5.5 AP weighted scale can sometimes inflate students' GPAs. And it's important that students, while they are looking at their general cumulative GPA on our internal weight scale, they should always be aware of what their sort of non-weighted or stripped GPA is on a general 4.0 weight scale when they are applying to post-secondary colleges and trade schools. So it is important to be aware that this weighting scale is not a stripped 4.0 scale, and that would be an important piece of information as students are kind of getting into their 11th and 12th grade year to be aware of. So for the 18-19 school year, on this slide here is the AP level courses that we offer. We offer AP Studio Art 2D Design. We offer AP English Literature. We will be offering AP English Language and Composition for the first time next year. We offer AP Calculus, AP Biology and AP Chemistry, AP Environmental Science, and then AP US, European, History and Government and Politics. And we also offer AP Spanish Language and Culture for students who are getting to that level of language acquisition and exploration here at the high school. Some new courses that we're offering in our course of studies next year are, again, AP Language and Composition. We'll be offering Drawing 2, Forensic Science, which is a project-based class within our science department. We're going to begin offering an integrated science course, mainly for incoming 9th graders who may not necessarily be ready to dive into biology and that keystone exam requirement, and can take integrated science in their 9th grade year to get one more year of sort of a holistic science class to better prepare for taking biology in their 10th grade year. And then we are looking to offer 2 new tracks of study in the high school with the implementation of Project Lead the Way's curriculum, which we currently offer in grades 3 through 8, offering an Introduction to Engineering course, which would be the first of a 4-course rollout here at the high school, and then Project Lead the Way's Computer Science Essentials class, which would be the first of a 3-course rollout within the high school program of studies. One thing we'd like to note, Avon Grove Charter School is a small school, and because we're a small school, we sometimes have a constraining master schedule. Our schedule makes it sometimes difficult to schedule world language courses. So we have built partnerships with different organizations and different online course providers to provide students at Avon Grove Charter School online language courses when they are unable to fit a language level in their schedule here at Avon Grove Charter School. So if a student really wants to take Spanish 3 and there's no way for us to fit Spanish 3 into their course schedule, we give them the option to enroll in an online Spanish 3 class at no charge. So the school covers the costs of those courses to better support our students and give them some flexibility. We only offer this when the conflict is sort of unresolvable, and we do not offer the online language courses as just an option to free up space or time, or to take a study hall, or to take a senior privilege. So it's only when students want to enroll in a language level and we're unable to get it and fit it into their schedule. New for next year and still in our planning process is we are looking to implement 4 different certificates of distinction, which would be sort of an honors program being developed here at Avon Grove Charter School. We're still finalizing policy and requirements before going to our school board for a vote. But these certificates of distinction could be received in performing and visual arts, engineering, computer science, and environmental science. So again, there would be specific requirements within those 4 content areas that if students were to meet them, which again, it would be rigorous requirements, they would receive supplemental certificates of honors with their diplomas upon graduation. So students should be on the lookout for more information about this possibility in the upcoming months. We also have 2 dual enrollment agreements with Delaware County Community College and Westchester University. Our dual enrollment classes are usually open to 11th and 12th grade students. Within the program of studies is a specific list of courses that Avon Grove Charter School will accept as transfer replacements. And what that means is a student could take, for example, Literature and Composition 1 at Delaware County Community College in lieu of taking an English class here at Avon Grove Charter School, and we would accept that credit from Delaware County Community College back to fulfill their graduation requirements here at Avon Grove Charter School. So there is proper paperwork and approval needed before we, as a school, would allow a transfer credit back to their student's high school transcript. Students interested in dual enrollment should schedule a meeting with their high school guidance counselor to get the information needed for AccuPlacer tests and any other requirements that Delaware County or Westchester has prior to high school students enrolling in their dual enrollment classes. Avon Grove Charter School also offers study halls throughout the day. Study halls are a great way for students to be able to rest, reflect, decompress, collaboratively work with other students, work on homework or projects that they may not be able to do or devote as much time to at home as they should. So students in grades 9 through 11 are able to enroll in 1 study hall period each semester. And then students in grade 12 are able to enroll in 2 study hall periods or apply for senior privilege or a combination of the 2. Here at Avon Grove Charter School, we run an 8-period, 45-minute block schedule. So students who are taking lab-based science classes, this would be courses like college prep biology, college prep and honors, chemistry, AP science classes that have lab periods, will automatically have a concurrent study hall scheduled in their schedule with their science lab. Avon Grove Charter Schools work to identify a number of elective courses that students who wish to carry a full schedule of credits are able to enroll in place of that automatically enrolled concurrent study hall. And again, students should be on the lookout over the summer for a list of classes by period that they would have the ability to enroll in lieu of a study hall to acquire additional credits rather than have that study hall period. The Avon Grove Charter School also offers senior privilege, which is in the form of an early release and late arrival option. So basically, seniors who meet specific requirements of academics, availability in their schedule, transportation, and attendance have the ability to sign up for early release and late arrival, which allows them to come in late to school or leave school early. Again, in lieu of staying on campus for a proctored study hall. Because we're a small school, we really have to look at our course enrollment requests carefully. So I guess the best way to look at it is that high school course scheduling isn't really a buffet, and students need to be mindful of what they're requesting, and that when they're requesting things, they're making commitments to those classes. So we have every semester an add drop period, but it's important for students to realize that once they enroll and start a class, there are consequences if they choose to drop it after that general add drop period, and that if a student requests to drop a class after a particular time period, that there are consequences, that they would receive a withdrawal fail on their transcript. I had mentioned before that the high school runs on an 8-period, 45-minute block of time schedule. So students have the ability to enroll in 7 academic classes per year because one of those 8 periods is their elongated study and lunch period. We have a division-wide lunch block, so all of high school eats at the same time, which is really great for our clubs and activities to utilize that lunch study time as a meeting time. And this schedule allows us to better facilitate senior privilege in the morning and the afternoon, and dual enrollment release for college level classes. On the slide here is a number of academic and extracurricular clubs and activities that we have. That there are more than what is on here, but please know that part of a student's high school career is not just sitting in a seat in their regularly scheduled classes and moving through that process. It really is important for students to get involved within the school community, whether it be a club or an activity or a play or a musical. Getting involved really gives students a more well-rounded educational experience and better prepares them, whether it's for college or career or entering the workforce, to understand how there's interdependence in the school community of academics and clubs and activities. So moving forward, again, the live presentation of this scheduling overview was done on March 1st. From March 5th through March 16th, our teachers will be meeting with students and completing the recommendation process in PowerSchool. And students will actually be doing their requests in school with their guidance counselors the week of March 19th to the 23rd. So this is right before our spring break. After spring break, our administrative team will be doing some request cleanups and reviews. We'll be sending the request back to our teachers during the week of April 16th to the 20th for another spot check and review week. And then from May to July, our administrative team works on building our master schedule for the 2018-2019 school year based on student requests. And then typically during the first or second week of August is when we will release student schedules in PowerSchool to our school community. So important scheduling timelines here that we try to meet to be able to release schedules in August, so students know what classes they have in the upcoming school year. So during the request process, this process is very, very intuitive. If students have gone through it before, they will most likely recognize these screens. So during that week of March 19th, students will be with their guidance counselors in either their English or their social studies classes, going through this request process. So students will log into PowerSchool. And they will see a class registration area over on the left. And once they click on the class registration area, they'll be brought to their scheduling cards where they will be able to go in to a number of different course content areas and credit requirement areas and start to make their specific course request selections. So when they go in, they'll see a digital version of our course catalog in PowerSchool. It'll remind them how many credits they might need to take in a particular content area. It'll explain to them any prerequisite notes that might be needed. So for students' core classes in English, social studies, math, and science, we require teacher recommendations to unlock certain courses. And again, this is for us to better project out the number of sections and teachers that we would need for the upcoming school year. And if a student has not met a prerequisite for a particular class level, then they would not have it unlocked for them and they would not be able to choose it. So it is important for students to communicate their course interests with their current teachers so that those teachers can enter in recommendations to unlock some of these courses and course levels. And then when they go into their elective classes, they'll also see prerequisite notes of certain academic requirements that might be needed to be able to enroll in a class. Although most of the electives will be unlocked to students, we expect them to be able to follow these prerequisite notes. So for example here, in order to take Painting 1, we ask that students have received at least a 71% in Drawing 1. So students need to be mindful that this prerequisite would have required them to have taken Drawing 1 and to have gotten a certain grade before they check the box to enroll in Painting 1. And our system will guide students through the process and make sure that they choose a healthy amount of courses so that there are not blanks and gaps in student schedules when they are released in August. So that wraps up the general presentation of our course selection process for the 18-19 school year. I would recommend that if you have any general questions, that you reach out to your child's specific school counselor. They would be able to help the best with any scheduling questions, level questions, college and career readiness questions. So any issues, concerns, please reach out to your school's guidance counselor. And then again, our students will be beginning this process of actually making their course selections for the 18-19 school year during the week of March 19th. Thank you.